The purpose was just to show you state force, who's in charge, this is power, and this is what we're doing. It's overwhelmingly black on black violence inside of Democrat controlled precincts of Democrat controlled cities that is the driver of all of the violence that you can count at the state level. But the
Yeah.
state is not primarily responsible. The red state, so to speak, is not primarily, the state of Louisiana is much less involved in the day-to-day of the crime rate in, say, New Orleans, than the government or the mayor and the police commissioner and the police force of New Orleans and the prosecutors of New Orleans are. And so whenever they make this argument, it's a bad argument. I suppose they hope that people don't pay attention to how flawed it is, because we do have federalism in this country, and we do have state and local law enforcement and the separations that occur there. But okay, let's take a look at that and see why is it that Democrats, even in places where they begin to bring the crime down dramatically, which I think is going to be happening if Trump continues on this path, why won't they try to replicate that? Let's put aside blue state, red state. Let's just say, okay, let's flood any city. Now, Illinois is a blue city. Chicago is a blue city and a blue state. All right, let's take New Orleans. Let's take Memphis. And what's funny, Clay, is what you'll have then is your governor, for example, Governor Lee. I'm sure if Trump wants to put federal resources to work and wants to work with the state of Tennessee to make Memphis as safe as can be, oh, that's great. It's in Illinois where that makes it I think that makes it hit home even more. In Illinois, you would have, oh no, Governor Pritzker, he doesn't want federal assistance, and we just saw this in Los Angeles where they had the illegal alien riots going on, and they were, how dare you put the National Guard on the streets? Oh, you like the disorder and chaos?
Yeah, same thing in Baltimore with the feuding with Governor Wes Moore of Maryland. I think you look at these policies, and what they would actually do is show that Trump's policies are very popular with people who face actual violence. There was a video Fox News shared of the protest in Washington, D.C. against the deployment of the National Guard. Almost everyone in the crowd is a middle-aged white person. D.C., as we talked about, is only about 38% white. So as a group, not being concerned with crime is a luxury of wealth. It really is. And those people all still have neighborhood watches, and they have their own private security guards and everything else. But by and large, when we go to Washington, D.C., when we lived there, Northwest D.C. is the safest part of D.C. It's where Georgetown is, where George Washington University is, Catholic, American University, all these different parts of D.C. And memorably, in Georgetown, they didn't want the subway because they didn't want criminal elements from outside of D.C. to be able to easily get to Georgetown. So the places where the wealthier people of Washington, D.C. live tend to be the safest. But the places where there's actual crime, I think they would welcome in many ways, in Baltimore, in Chicago, certainly in Washington, D.C., and crime and areas of high violence, if suddenly no one's getting killed. Isn't that a good thing? I'm sorry. Like, generally limiting murders seems like something we should be in favor of as a country. And so if Trump can implement policies that lowered the rate of murder, that should be a really good thing.
Well, there's also, as I've pointed out, because now I know everyone now who was for all the COVID stuff, they just want to pretend like nothing happened. And this is like a nightmare that we all had collectively as a country, that we can pretend it wasn't pushed on us by a bunch of emotionally unstable left-wing maniacs, or the Democrat Party overall, and the medical establishment, which was hijacked by people of the same politics. But Clay, they were deploying National Guard to airports to deal with a virus.
Yes.
Just think about this for a second. Were the National Guardsmen, who I know were there with rifles that had no bullets in them, were they going to shoot the virus? What were they going to do? What was the purpose of me arriving in New York City on an airplane and having National Guardsmen in the terminal? The purpose was just to show you state force, who's in charge, this is power, and this is what we're doing. And it's just interesting to me because that was really about compliance, Well, what about safety? I think people are less likely to carjack somebody if there are a bunch of Americans in uniform with M16 standing on the corner watching. I think that's less likely to happen. I think you're more likely to say, maybe I won't do that. But they think that scaring the virus, it was really to scare us. As I said, it was compliance training. But deploying the National Guard for COVID makes perfect sense to them. Deploying the National Guard so that people aren't getting shot in the streets makes no sense to them.
And I also think the symbolism of this is potentially impactful too, in terms of not only if you see National Guard troops or you see a force that is in that the goal is to bring peace and security and stability to the nation's capital. Not only if you see it, but if in the back of your head you're thinking, oh, there's way more police, there's way more National Guard, I think psychologically you may be less likely to commit a crime because you think, oh, I'm more likely to be caught. And I think this goes to the penalties that have to be arrayed against people who commit acts of violence as well. And again, I just go back to your home city of New York. Everybody listening to us on WOR, you know that there's still too much violence in New York. There's still too much disorder. There's still too much petty theft, all those things, right? We can always do better. But if the nation had New York City's crime rate, if the nation just had New York City's crime rate, we would have about, I was looking at the numbers, about 60% fewer murders in the country. Doesn't that seem like a pretty good thing? I'm not saying we can eliminate all violence, but New York City is a big, bustling metropolis filled with a lot of people from a variety of different backgrounds, and yet they have managed to drive down the overall murder rate to around, 250, 300, something like that,
it's like
in a city of 8 million.
It's been about 400 in recent years, like 380-ish, I think. But yeah, it's not 2,300, which it was in 1990.
I mean, 60% decline in violent crime seems like a really good thing. We're around 23,000, 22,000 murders nationwide. And again, you and I like to talk about murders because we know they happen, whereas you might get your scooter stolen in New York City and just never report it.
Too soon.
Soon. You might be a badass riding around on a scooter and you get your scooter stolen and you're just like, there's no point in even reporting this.
When I used to, Clay, when I was ripping through the streets of New York on that scooter, and I would
in a helmet,
I would hit the little ding ding on the, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I never got though was streamers. Like on a bicycle, you get the streamers on the handles. I didn't even have time because it got stolen from me, but I was going to get some streamers. Sad. Big sad.
It is real, but this is quality of life. Honestly, some days you can't even take your scooter.
Of all the videos that I wish kind of existed, I wish I could show you the video because I didn't even do it full justice of me trying to give my date a ride home on my e-scooter after dinner and it going putt, putt, putt 2 miles an hour. That was one of my great moments. That was during COVID.
A teenager, I'm not kidding, zipped by me on a scooter. When you say scooter, it's like the stand. It technically is like a almost like a hoverboard.
That actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I have a scarf on, and my name is Vincenzo. Ciao. Like no. I'm actually talking about the little thing you can fold up and put under your desk, which is like an e-scooter that you stand up and yeah.
Some guy, teenage boy in my neighborhood, went zooming by with two different girls on his scooter last night when I was he's probably, I don't know, 14 or 15 years old.
What you call a baller, Clay? That's a guy who's got game.
And his scooter was able to hold two different other additional people. And I was thinking that's the kind of scooter Buck needed. We come back. We'll take some of your calls. We roll through the Monday edition of the program. But a lot of you out there getting ready for back to school. My kids are already back in school. Your kids either are in school or they're getting close. And sometimes that means maybe kids don't eat well. Maybe your kids don't particularly like the lunches at school. Maybe they're not on top of things. That can mean making decisions on cooking at home can make even more sense to help get your kids taken care of with healthy eating. And that's what Good Ranchers does. They are a family founded by Ben and his wife, Corley. They have 4 young kids, and they are delivering excellent quality beef, chicken, pork, salmon to your doorstep on a schedule you choose. You can know that you are getting the best possible Good Ranchers food free of antibiotics and hormones. We eat it in the Travis household. Buck eats it in his home. We love it, and we've got an incredible offer for you right now. You can get $65 off. That's an initial $40 discount plus a $25 discount on every order going forward when you go to goodranchers.com and use my name, Clay, right now. Free shipping, free gift in every order. You can choose that, whether it's bacon, seed oil, free chicken nuggets, Wagyu burgers, every type of meat you could possibly want. You go in and you hand select what makes the most sense. Go to goodranchers.com. My name, Clay, as the promo code, $40 discount plus an additional $25 discount in future months. Get hooked up today. That's goodranchers.com, code Clay.